Alright, we're live. Lit.
So if
We're
anyone's
good. Just make sure
online,
it's good.
we're gonna wait a little
Yep.
longer for other members. Yeah.
So anybody
They're
have any
joining for a bit.
talents they want to show to entertain the masses in the meantime? And want to wiggle ears or something?
Wait, so how many people are we waiting on?
Terribly disappointing, you guys.
We're waiting. I don't know. Maya, you can sing for a bit while we wait. Provide entertainment.
Hey, what up, Sky? What up? What up?
Is Sky there?
I miss
Sky
you too.
replies.
How are you doing? Man, this delay thing is very strange, man. Hey,
Like, what's the delay like?
hello, guys. But you guys need to act like you guys don't know me, you know, because I'm lucky a stranger.
Hey, what up, Sky?
Hey, Celeste, my love. Celeste didn't even recognize me. She didn't
I
say
got-
like, "Oh, hi, Sai."
Turn your YouTube on mute, though, yeah?
Oops, wrong person. Remove. Guys, I just commented using the Lafayette, using the ISA thing.
Oh no, fatal mistake.
My bad. I'm gonna get an iPad. Here's mine. Oops.
So try doing my phone instead. It won't even work on Safari though, will it? Maybe download something.
Oh, Janine's replying.
Yeah.
Hello,
Hello,
Janine.
Janine. How are you?
We miss you. All right, so once Victoria gets here, we can kick off. We'll just wait for a bit more, and this will not be awkward at all.
So what?
Likely story.
Where are these people? Saeed.
Milwaukee, bro. I know where they are as much as you do. Still don't open 4 o'clock, so we out here waiting.
You're thinking 4 o'clock local time, man.
I forgot international peeps. Oh my god, we're dealing with them here. They're running on international time.
Janine, the guest speaker today is Maya. Yes.
Hi, Janine.
Guys, Tomoki, did you see my comment with the ISA live thing?
No, what did you? No, I didn't.
I commented with what they call it, with the ISA
Oh,
account, my loves, and then I realized, oh my god, it's not my personal account. All right, Tafita's here.
Tafit. All right, Tafita's here.
I can't even hear my guy. Tafita, what's good, bro? I can't hear you, bro. Can you hear me? Say chicken licking. Say Janine is amazing. You can't hear me, definitely. Alright. Let me text them.
Wait, just before we start, people
Who's
in the
recording?
comment section, are we can you guys hear us properly? Or what? Are we good? Because I feel like one of them YouTubers, you know, streaming.
All right, we're going live. We're starting off in a sec. So, let me get Fita again. Alright, Tafita, can you hear us now?
Wait, recording stopped?
Yeah, I stopped it, bro. You don't need to record.
Okay.
I usually record.
We're still live streaming though, right?
Yeah, we're still.
Okay, cool. Just so I don't say anything, you know, anything bad.
Something naughty.
All right. So is Tavita having technical difficulties or what's up?
I don't know, man.
Hello.
Oh, Nastasia's here. Welcome, Nastasia. Can you hear us? Oh, Tafita, speak.
Turn on your mic.
Oh, you can hear us. Wonderful.
Okay.
Hello, Nastasia.
All right. Taku's asking for them icebreaker jokes. All right. So
Right.
I don't even know what that means, to be honest. I'm so bad with jokes. All right, Saeed, give us a joke, man.
All right. Icebreaker. Everyone tell something. Anyways, let's just get started. Let's just
All
get
right.
started. Anyways, welcome. Thank you all so much for joining us today. This is the second event, or practically sort of like second and a half event of this week's extravaganza. We're really glad that every single one of you could join us today. Today's event is sort of really just meant to be a conversation with international students. And students not only who are international, but who might have been international when the pandemic started, and just sort of to get their feedback, or sort of just to let everybody sort of know how things are going on their ends wherever they are. So yeah, it should be a really fun, chill conversation. As you may know, today we also have a guest speaker starring Tomoki Sasaki, who will be moderating the conversation. With us, I'll have everyone introduce themselves, and I'll hand it over to Tomoki right away. So I'll be here, but sort of in a quasi-silent session because I am not technically anywhere that's international. I'm at the most local place, technically, Lafayette. I'm president of ISA this year. I'm Saeed, and class of 2020 senior, waiting to graduate. All right, Tomoki.
Alrighty. Thanks, Saeed. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tomoki Sasaki. I am an alumnus of Lafayette College. I graduated last year, and I was the former president of ISA. And Saeed graciously invited me to be the moderator of this talk, where we'll sort of hear everyone's sort of perspective on COVID and the particular circumstances wherever they are. Just a little bit about myself. I currently am an MA student at UChicago studying philosophy. And so maybe now we can do some introductions. I don't know whose mics are working at the moment. Anastasia, I don't think I know you actually, but
Oh yeah.
but your mic is working. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Maybe we can start with you, where you are right now, who you are, and then we'll just go through the list. Maya can go after that. Maybe.
Okay, so I'm Anastasia. I am a junior, rising senior at Lafayette. So I'm an immigrant from Jamaica. I actually migrated to the States when I was 12. So currently I'm in New York, but a few weeks ago I was actually in South Africa studying abroad. But then my trip had to obviously got cut short because of the virus, which is a whole story within itself. But I guess I'll talk about that in the conference. I'm a neuroscience major and a religion minor. I'm the president of the Caribbean and African Dance Club. I'm also historian of NIA. And that's it.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So my name is Maya. I'm so sorry that I can't figure out my video on this.
I think you just have to, there's a speaker and then there's like a video thing.
I feel you. Listen, we've been trying. We had a full-on 10-minute diagnostic session before, but unfortunately I just can't figure it out for some reason. So I have to go back and my phone settings later, I guess. But my name is Maya. I'm a first year. I'm a double English and art major. I'm originally from New York, but I'm a Swedish American dual citizen, and right now I live in England. So I'm looking at Corona from the UK.
All right. Is Tafita or Victoria in the room?
Victoria, can you turn on your mic and stuff?
All right. Well, we'll try to get these people in the room with their video and mic working. But in the meantime, yeah, I think we'll I'd love to hear the perspective of both of you right now. So Nastasia is in New York, and maybe, so Nastasia, when did you come back? You said you were doing a study abroad in South Africa, right?
Yeah,
And so when did you return from that trip?
actually came back. This Friday is actually gonna make it a month, 4 weeks.
Okay. And what was the situation like at the time when you were in South Africa?
It was great. It was really good. We were so we didn't think that we were gonna be sent home. I would say like maybe at the end of February, that's when the cases in the States like started to appear. And actually right after it happened, maybe a week after that, someone in our program who didn't go to Lafayette, but she was a part of the IES program, the study abroad program, her school told her you have to go home. And I remember I was actually in South Africa with 5 other people. And when we heard that, we were like, yo, thank God it's not us. Like, we're not getting sent home, because we actually left South Africa. Like, it was great. We're only there for maybe a month at that point. And we're like, damn, like, it sucks for her. She's going home. But inside, there were no cases in South Africa. Like, in the beginning of March, there were no cases in South Africa until.
We're back. All righty. So, I guess Nastasia was in the middle of speaking, right? How about before she comes back? Yeah, I am definitely used to getting roped up into stuff, but it's always better for me in my life, so it's all good. Hi, Maha, how are you doing? So before Anastasia comes back, maybe we can hear a little from Maya, how the situation is looking like in England.
Who's this other person?
What? Yeah, how did it begin to spread in your country? And also, I'm also particularly interested in hearing about the NHS and maybe sort of the role that the NHS has played in the UK.
Absolutely. So, sorry, my phone's flipping out here. Yeah, so I was pretty worried about coming in to the UK, but I was lucky in that the UK was the last country to close borders in Europe, essentially, which was kind of honestly a surprising decision. Saying I've been talking a lot about this, and I just have like a very terrible suspicion that the UK has been systematically underreporting deaths here. So that's right now we're all under social distancing. There was an extension to the stay-at-home order issued a couple of days ago for at least 3 weeks. And everyone's been doing pretty much okay, but the UK had really, really low early numbers, which was shocking, just given the fact that, you know, like London's a huge metropolis. We have a lot of international travel. Heathrow and Gatwick are both major international airports. So definitely a little incongruent with what someone predicts, perhaps. But they're essentially not counting at-home deaths, which parts of the US are out there, but at-home deaths or deaths of people with underlying conditions as corona deaths, either if they do have corona or suspected corona cases. So that's definitely creating some problem in terms of the discrepancy between number of deaths right now and number of people who are actually having corona when people are receiving statistics. So that's definitely been challenging to see. But all in all, I will say that I think that because of that, there's more of an attitude of, you know, the attitude's a little bit more relaxed, I think, compared to places like in Easton now where, you know, you have to wear a mask to leave the house. So I do think that that's a little bit dangerous, and that's still here. It's not quite being driven home that, you know, people need to be taking this seriously.
Okay. And of course, I think most of us know that your dear Prime Minister was in fact tested positive for corona. So any updates on that whole situation?
Yeah, so it was really funny because we were all watching BBC for a couple of days very anxiously, and our health minister had corona too. And it was all like, oh, he's in good spirits. And then like a few days later, Boris Johnson, like there's a statement from him directly, and he's like, you know, like it was really like, it was like just on the line, like matter of life or death. So we're hearing like good spirits on the one hand from cabinet members who haven't spoken to him in 2 weeks. And his partner was also ill, and she's pregnant, so I don't know what's going on. But the Queen had a public message, which is usually we only get like at Christmas. I think that she did some like during World War II maybe, but not so much since then. So I think it definitely just goes to show the extremity of the situation, that the Queen, you know, was moved to action.
Right. Now Nastasia's back, right? Are you able to hear us?
Yeah.
Okay. There are some technical difficulties apparently, but now we're back with more faces, so it's good. I wanted to ask Nastasia, since you're living in the epicenter of COVID in the world, what that whole situation is like. I mean, yeah, I presume it's quite different from other parts of the world. I mean, what is it like there? Is anyone outside? Actually, I'm
Well,
curious to hear that.
find out if anyone's outside. I have to go outside.
Right, fair point.
People are still working, but again, it's mainly the essential workers.
Uh-huh.
I've been inside since I've been back. I've mainly been inside. I've only been outside twice, and that was to go to the grocery store. That was a whole experience because to get into the grocery store, there's a line outside. They only let in a few people at a time. So I was very surprised that I was there. I started to get a little bit emotional because I'm like, wow, this is actually happening. Like people,
Right.
this is something that's happening. When you're in your house, you don't realize the severity of it. But when you get inside and you see how it's so empty, and how there are long lines to get into the grocery store just to get like maybe 2 items, it puts things into perspective. People are still working. I know that my old job, I used to work at Home Depot, the people there are still working, but they're making it optional to come in. So if you feel that you don't want to risk it, you rather stay inside, you could choose to stay at home. A lot of the places here are closed. The delis are closed. Which is one thing about New York. The delis are never closed. The beauty supply stores are closed. The only thing that's really open are the laundromats and the grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that's really been affecting me is that I have not seen my mother since I've been back. I've been here for 4 weeks and I haven't seen her. And that's mainly because so she does home health aid where she goes to people's houses and she takes care of them. But just to not risk getting her patients sick, since she is a nurse, she's just been staying at the house that she normally works at. So I haven't seen her. So that's been pretty tough. Aside from that, it's been okay.
Yeah, thanks for that. So how about you, Victoria? So could you tell everyone where you currently are? And actually me too, because I don't know. And yeah, tell us a little bit about the situation over there.
I'm in Holland.
Okay.
And well, here it's interesting because it's a small country. So in terms of like cases per million, it actually has. I mean, it's not like a couple of days ago it had more than the U.S. Now, not anymore. But it's the situation here. It's the government really like is embracing. They consider themselves to be like a very open, free society. So they're trying really hard to like not do a full shutdown. But there are rules in terms. Most things are closed. Like now, recently, a couple of like small shops and stuff are opening up again. But like you can go out for exercise, you can go out like shopping, but there are fines if you walk close. If you're with more than 3 people in the street, you get fined, and then if you're walking closer than 1.5 meters, you can get fined between 400 and 4,000 euros. But it's not like you can go exercising and stuff, which compared to Spain, which is where I'm from, it's much more. The situation there is significantly stricter.
Right.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to talk a little bit about sort of not just about what's going on, but maybe more personal stuff like how it's been for us, coping with it. What have been maybe the biggest challenges when it comes to COVID? Because I know it's been a big period of transition. Tafita, are you here? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fantastic. So yeah, if any of you at any point want to hop in and just, give any comments, please feel free to do that. Tafita, we're just talking about, we just finished sort of discussing an overview of where we are right now. So maybe before we get into the questions of how we're dealing with it, maybe the challenges and how we've been coping with it, maybe we can briefly hear from you what the situation is where you are. So if you could tell everyone where you are and what's it been like?
Okay. So I actually left Lafayette for doing a study abroad in Germany this spring semester. so we were in Germany, and like the pandemic started like to spread, and then we started like everyone wanted to go home, and they all went home. But then since I'm originally from Madagascar, it was like kind of complicated for me to turn back home.
Right.
And also like I have to take the online class, so I had to think about like where can I do it and
Right.
all the logistics. So for my case, I decided like to move to my family in France. Hopefully, I have like the visa, which is still like working out. Um, so I'm in France right now, trying like to finish the semester, and then maybe after going back in Madagascar, like seeing like how things go,
Right.
and like trying like like to keep track of the news and.
Mhm.
and
So what's the border situation like that? So are the borders of Madagascar open, or like the airports?
So it's actually closed, and
Yeah.
even if it's open, like the French airplane companies are still like none of them are working right now. So it's
Right.
kind of complicated. But the president just announced this Monday that like in 1 month, like they are starting like to make everything working. So by
Uh-huh.
that time, I may have the time like to get back there.
Right. Right.
So I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, I had a similar situation where I was actually planning to leave maybe 3 weeks ago back to Rwanda, but so I booked my tickets, and literally 2 hours after, the government announced that they're closing the airport. So now I'm in Philadelphia with a friend. So anyway, so yeah, similar situation. It seems like a lot of us are in the same boat.
That was something that happened when I was leaving South Africa. We had 4 canceled flights.
Oh,
So
really? Oh, my
yeah,
goodness.
they told us that we had to leave. It was very abruptly, and we didn't plan to leave, obviously, because it wasn't bad
Right.
in South Africa, but it was bad in the US. So they told us to leave.
Right.
I had to change my return ticket, but then the airline I was traveling with, they canceled all flights maybe 5 days before I had to leave. And then after that, Lafayette actually booked another flight for me. And then that airline, I was supposed to leave the Thursday. I was supposed to leave, I believe, the 25th. And that airline canceled all flights after the 24th. So they were like, after 24th, you can't fly out. So sorry.
Right.
We booked another flight through Expedia. This time my my IES program booked the flight. And then they told us it didn't go through. The airline was overbooked, so we didn't have a ticket. So then they booked another flight.
Oh my goodness.
But that 4th flight actually worked out. But it was, and we left the day before South Africa closed their borders.
Right. Wow. It's tight. So I was wanting to hear also your guys' sort of experiences. Of course, it's been a very challenging time for a lot of us. And I just wanted to hear, maybe, this can be a time where other people can hear, the similar challenges we've been going through, and maybe some pointers as to how you've been dealing with it or coping with it, what's been helpful in your life on a daily basis with social distancing and just staying indoors all the time. So if any of you want to share about that.
For me, exercise. Every day I exercise probably like 1 or 2 hours. And here, because I can go on bike rides. I go on pretty extensive bike rides or walks.
Okay.
I biked 45 kilometers the other day. That was very just enjoyable. I could see how not everyone likes doing that. But yeah, exercise I think helps. It just gives you something to do and you still feel like a little bit active.
Right. Yeah, I have not been active in any sense of the word. I haven't done any exercise since like sophomore year of college, so I don't think that's really COVID related. I think it's just a me problem. But yeah, I think for me it's just been, I don't know about you guys, but I just haven't been able to focus whatsoever. I mean, my reading capacity is really just not there. Only recently have I been able to sort of understand my readings. So that's been a big challenge, and I think it just takes all the energy you have to like focus on the daily things you need to do, and trying to do anything more than that is just such a challenge. I don't know if you guys have experienced that, and you guys are wrapping up your academic year, so it's a big time.
I think like for me, Jen,
Go ahead.
like for me, the challenge is kind of like because I live in a different time zone. So when I have like to take the classes, like I have to take them like almost all of them tonight. So it's kind of like I have to stay like late at night, but at the same time, I found out that like since it's not really allowed like to interact with people, like if you wanna like run or something like that. So I found out that like the morning is actually the best time to go early in the morning because most people are like still sleeping. So you can actually like go out like like free without like any interaction. So I kind of have like that problem with sleep right now because I sleep the day and like the entire night and the morning like I'm awake and kind of like a change in the habit.
I have the same. I don't know if it's because I feel like I'm existing on a different kind of time zone. Like the thing is, even if I'm used to staying up late, it's like when you have something that ends at like 11 or midnight, like you're stimulated, so you don't fall asleep.
Yes,
if that makes
it's
sense.
so hard to have a good sleep schedule.
And like
by the way,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I've just had some professors justify with being like, oh, but you're college students, like you're used to being up late at night, and it's like, yeah, but no one wants to be doing like academic things at like 11 on a Friday night. Like at that point, you're kind of just a bit exhausted, but you also have other things to be doing, and like you also have like a schedule that you're supposed to be following, like in whatever household it is that you're in. So that's been for me as well a bit of a challenge.
Right. By the way, if you want, for the people in the comment section, if you have any questions for any of us, please feel free and to ask any questions or comments. Anastasia, you're going to say something?
Oh yeah, a big challenge that I've had is because I live in a different time zone. South Africa is 6 hours ahead.
Right.
So the things that would be normally due at 11 or like 11:59 p.m. I have to finish that by 5 my time.
So you have the opposite. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
So like
wow, yeah, I didn't think about that.
I had an assignment that was due for one of my classes. It was an exam.
Yeah.
And it was due at, he was like, submit it by 12, this time. But it's like, for me, I woke up at like 12. So that I only had 5 hours to complete it. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh my gosh. It's like, that's worse. Like people ahead, I'm just 1 hour ahead now of Chicago, and that's helpful. But to be behind,
See, I liked that when I was in South Africa because when they were like, when I was working with the US time, like if I had to submit maybe an internship or something,
you get extra.
I had extra time where it's like, oh yeah, it's 12 their time, but you know what? It's only 7 my time, so I still bust it out. But now it's harder to do because when they're up, I'm asleep.
Right.
So that's been difficult, and also I have no motivation whatsoever to do any work at all. So hard to find that motivation and to get into it.
Right. We have a comment from Celeste to Victoria and Tafita. What do you think / what have you heard about the future of the EU amid the coronavirus? Also, hi, Masha. She said.
I was talking about this today actually with my dad. Like, there is a lot of conversation about the EU potentially disintegrating like after this. Because I don't know, there hasn't really been like a unified EU response per se, which is hard. But like once again, you're seeing some of like the same issues, which is like countries in Southern Europe are constantly overburdened and like suffering more, but like not really receiving help from other countries in Europe per se. Not and everyone's going through it now, so obviously like they can't necessarily like expect the help. But there's definitely like, in my opinion at least, I think there has been silence on the EU, and like there've been conversations to even like shutting down Schengen and stuff, but like no one I don't know, you're not really hearing anything. So I don't think it will completely disintegrate the EU, but I do think there might be like some conversations in terms of how to like what's the EU's actual scope, especially in terms of public health. Probably the same we'll see with like the UN or whatever, but at the EU level.
Mhm. Another question, also from Celeste. This is directed to Tafida. Have you had to fill out forms to leave your house? What is it like to go to the grocery store?
That's a good question. Actually, that's like really crazy right here. Because like they like ask you like a form that you need like to fill in, and like every time like you go out, you have to do it. I remember like what my brother actually forgot his paper on the table,
Uh-oh.
and he almost got in trouble with that. Like he was able to cooperate with the police, but they like they don't really like joke about that. Like when you like
Right.
have to fill the paper, you need like to bring it with you. When you like go shopping, I think like they kind of allow like only 10 people at a time to enter the grocery store.
Okay.
And so like sometimes it takes you like 3 hours just like to buy like stuff from like
Wow.
for food or something. So you always make sure like you have time like to do for like grocery store, and like for us like we like buy like the like for 2 weeks we would buy like everything and make sure that we have everything, because that's like kind of things that like really takes time, and like you also want to try like to avoid as much contact as possible. So
Right.
just make sure like you reduce the time that like you go out, and that's actually the reason why I found out like the morning is like the best way like to go out, because starting like at 8 or at 9 a.m. like everyone is like trying like to do some groceries, and it's kind of complicated.
Right. Man, that's yeah. Even for me, I don't go out grocery shopping, but the family I'm staying with, yeah, goes out once a week, and it's just such a hassle to just get a little bit of food, because there's just so many people at once, and only a few can go in at a time. Yeah, seems to be something that a lot of people are dealing with. Here, I sort of want to make this, I want to have at least a positive side to this, because I don't want it to be too sort of depressing. I'm curious to hear sort of anything that has been encouraging in this period, or something that someone said to you, whether it's a professor or a friend that has really just sort of lifted you out of the gutters. To start with, I have an example. One of my professors this quarter, one of my philosophy professors, in the first lecture, one of the first things she said was, look, this isn't a time for us where we should expect ourselves to produce the best work. It's a time for us to deal with what we can and try our best and just cope with the situation. So just those few words she said in the beginning was so encouraging, that the end all be all isn't like academic rigor, but it just meant a lot that this professor was caring about our mental health as well as our physical health. So yeah, have you had any sort of experiences like that that's been encouraging for you?
I think even seeing everybody standing together and putting on a show for in terms of having having ISA programming still going on even virtually, I think that the way that people are struggling and putting in the effort to connect virtually is actually really, really admirable and heartwarming. I think it also just goes to show how desperately we need each other, even when sometimes we need a break from each other.
Yeah.
People reconnect digitally, like touching back in their friends and stuff as well. It's also been really heartwarming.
Yeah. I'm super impressed with ISA, that you guys are willing to put in the work.
Victoria.
Yeah. Good job. Anyone else?
I think major shout out, of course, always to the number one OG, Janine Block. Janine's just been amazing. I don't know if you guys noticed, but like literally, when she found out that it was going to particularly uniquely affect international students, but then at the same time, we weren't able to like really do much for them at the same time. Jeannie was like just absolutely devastated by that conundrum. She's really just been devastated by that dilemma. So much so that she actually even created like a hugs thing in order to like give people hugs. So she like got like a bunch of Hershey's hugs, put them in Ziplocs, and like distribute them across campus. Like so, yeah. Shout out Janine every day. You advise.
Shout out. Thank you always. Thank you
I
very
think
much.
also another group, or let me just say, overall, I think, especially in this sort of forum, I think is important to shout out or just thank in particular, sort of Lafayette as a whole. I mean, it's unique. Like a lot of other schools, maybe perhaps send their kids home or like send them home for the semester and stuff. But Lafayette's just been like
Yes. Yeah.
accommodating in this circumstance, allowing
Yeah.
us to stay on campus, providing
Yeah.
food, really good food. I don't know if you guys know, but like students who are on campus right now are all talking about how good the food is because all the head chefs are the ones who are doing the cooking, so the food is just like insane. And then like what else? I think also Pard Pantry has been like this huge thing, just been wonderful. So yeah, it's really been like Lafayette's been amazing in this time, and I think the international student body as a whole is really appreciative of that.
Yeah. Even while I was at U Chicago, before sort of schools decided to close up, I was sort of, keeping an ear open for what's going on in Easton and Lafayette. And I was really, happy to hear that Lafayette was, the first thing I heard was that they're not kicking out international students off of campus, because I know a lot of schools, it was just a hard rule that everyone just has to leave. And so I was very happy, very, very happy to hear that for people who need it, not just international students as well, that people who, need to stay can stay. And I think that was a really important thing. And I also hear that, like you just said, they're doing much, much more than that. So that's something that I even noticed all the way from Chicago. So yeah, props to all those people.
I think during this quarantine, one thing that it allowed me to do is to focus a little bit more on my future. I said I was unmotivated academically, but I'm about to be a senior next year next semester. And I obviously have to like think about what I want to do after graduation. I think that's something that I never really considered because I was like, when the semester is happening, you're so consumed with work or just like you don't really have the time to just like sit and think about like, okay, this is what I want to do with my future. Like these are my next steps. And I think this quarantine has allowed me to do that, to just like look at my options. Like, do I want to go to grad school? Do I want to go to pharmacy school? Do I want to work? And like the steps I should take towards that.
Right. Yeah, I've heard from a lot of people that it's actually finally sort of the time where they've been able to rest, actually, and that's a good thing amongst all the bad in the whole wellness situation. So it's definitely good to hear that from a lot of people, especially activists. I hear like activists who are just organizing all these demonstrations and marches all the time. It's like finally they're forced to rest in a sense, which is ironic but needed. So yeah.
Like from my perspective, I kind of feel like the benefits of like having the fact like to stay with family, like like when I went to Lafayette, I've never been back home, and then I have like families in France I haven't seen for a long time, and then like the fact that like I go here right now and like spend time with them and like to catch up. I think that's also like something really important. Like they didn't know a lot about what have I been doing in the US, like what's my plan and things like that. So like the fact that like you stay with your family and like experience like like living together again, and I think it's like really beneficial for me. Like I personally find it really interesting. Like my brother, I haven't seen him for like 3 years, and now we spend time together. Like we play games together, like talk about like our childhood together. I think like it's really interesting.
Glad to hear that. I think we're about at the closing time. Does anyone else have any final comments or anything they want to add, or if there's anyone in the comments that have any more questions?
I have a question for Saeed.
Yes.
Hit me.
It's your senior year. How are you feeling?
Yeah, first of all, yeah, by the way, Saeed.
Yeah, I don't know. So everyone's been asking that question, and there's this weird expectation that it's really monumental and stuff, and it is, but it's this weird feeling of emptiness. You don't feel like it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't come with that haunting, like, oh my God, my senior year is being terminated in this weird sense. It's like it feels more empty. That like you don't know, one, when this is going to end. Two,
Yeah.
also because a lot of seniors I've spoken to, including myself, just don't have like concrete post-grad plans. This just throws another wrench right into it. Then the job market is just like entirely like a mess right now, and everyone's just been trying to figure that out. So it's a weird feeling of like nothingness that I've been feeling, and numbness with regards to the entire thing. And all I've been doing is trying to keep my mind busy, playing games, working on my thesis, doing things that sort of matter to me in the short term, not trying to think about the bigger picture most of the time, calling people a lot. So that sort of distraction, I think, sort of like engagement with sort of the more present things has kept me from sort of like the more existential, oh my God, I'm a senior, what the hell am I going to do with the rest of my life?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's sort of how I've been approaching it. And a lot of people I've spoken to are sort of just naturally taking that stance because there's nothing else you can do. You feel rather helpless.
Right. Yeah. Can you guys hear him? I think you.
You think I cut off?
Yeah, you cut off a little. The end. Just towards the end. Yeah, I always wondered, how it is for seniors in particular, but I'm glad to hear that there's sort of a positive way to look at it, like you said. Just a few last two comments that I see here. One is by Janine. So much of the discomfort we're feeling is grief. It's so important to name it and understand the stages aren't linear. I try to focus on the blessings in my life and shift focus when feeling down. And Susan Hirschlag replies saying, finding the small blessings in the tough times is so important. So I think, thank you for those comments. And I think this is a good place to close. I think as a final note, it's just good to remember, one, I think it's a time when we can be really generous with each other, especially professors. I just want to put it out there if any of you are there watching. It's a really tough time for us, and obviously for you too. But a little bit of understanding goes a really, really long way. But thank you for those of you who have been sort of understanding. And also, I think, importantly, it's a time for us to be really generous with ourselves, because I think we can sort of blame ourselves for not being able to get our work done and all that. So thank you, everyone who attended. Thank you, ISA, for hosting this wonderful event. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for all the speakers today, sharing about your situation and your experience. And maybe just as a last thing, I'll share the events that are coming up for the rest of the week. So today, there's the Eat With Your Eyes. There's a submit and vote for your favorite international dish. That's like a food contest.
To vote.
Okay.
We had about 150 votes so far, so please.
Oh wow! Amazing.
Vote for your favorite meal. There's a lot of good stuff on there.
And then on Thursday, April 22nd, there's a mahjong tournament at 7 p.m. Friday, April 24th, there's a COVID-19 faculty voices with professors Talarico, Hutchinson, Kelly, and Sorrell. And then Saturday, April 25th, the big event, grand finale. It premieres on YouTube at 7 p.m. So please keep posted on that. They'll all be excellent, I'm sure, as the events so far have been. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, speakers, again.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.
All right, great job, guys. The stream has